Look closely at the people you admire. The ones on your screen, the ones on magazine covers, the ones whose voices play on repeat in your head. Now ask yourself one question. Are you absolutely sure that's still them? Because there is a theory that has spread from the darkest corners of the internet all the way to mainstream TikTok. A theory that millions of people, not conspiracy nuts, not basement dwellers, but regular, everyday fans are starting to believe. Hollywood has been replacing its biggest stars, and almost nobody noticed. Welcome to Late Night Heat. Tonight, we go deep, we go dark, and by the end of this video, you're going to look at your favorite celebrity very, very differently. Chapter 1. What is the clone conspiracy? Let's start from the beginning, because this isn't new, not by a long shot. The celebrity clone conspiracy, also called the replacement theory or the body double theory, is the idea that certain Hollywood stars at some point in their careers were secretly replaced by clones, by lookalikes, by surgically altered body doubles, by actors hired by entertainment studios to keep a brand alive when the real person could no longer do it. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Throughout history, powerful institutions have gone to extraordinary lengths to protect their assets. We've seen it in politics, we've seen it in war. And Hollywood, a multi-billion-dollar machine built entirely on image, is perhaps the most motivated institution in the world to protect its product. And the product is the celebrity. Think about what a top-tier Hollywood star is worth. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in film deals, brand partnerships, merchandise, streaming rights. One star alone can carry an entire franchise. So what happens when that star becomes a problem? When they get sick, when they go off the rails, when they say the wrong thing or become unmanageable? Well, Hollywood finds a solution. And according to millions of people online, that solution, at least in some cases, has been replacement. Now, the modern wave of this theory exploded in early 2026, and it started with three very specific names: Jim Carrey, Avril Lavigne, Selena Gomez. We're going to go through each one in detail, and you can decide for yourself what you believe. Chapter 2. Jim Carrey, the man who showed up in Paris. Let's talk about Jim Carrey first, because this one is the most recent and arguably the most shocking. In early 2026, Jim Carrey appeared at the César Awards in Paris. For those who don't know, the Césars are basically the French version of the Oscars. Carrey was being honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award, a huge deal for any actor. Now, Jim Carrey hasn't been in the public eye much in recent years. He stepped back from Hollywood after a long and legendary career. So when he showed up in Paris, everyone expected to see the man they remembered. The rubber-faced genius. The guy who gave us Ace Ventura, The Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What they saw was something different. The reaction on social media was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours of the footage being posted online, comment sections were flooded. That's not Jim Carrey. Who is this person? Something is wrong with his face. His voice sounds different. Look at his eyes. That's not him. Now, the official explanation was simple. Jim Carrey is 64 years old. He's aged. He's been out of the spotlight. People change. The César Awards organization put out a statement confirming his appearance had been planned for months. His personal representative told TMZ directly, Jim Carrey attended the ceremony. End of story. But the internet was not satisfied. Fans began doing what the internet does best, obsessively comparing. Side-by-side photos started circulating. Old interviews versus new footage played back to back. People pointed to his jawline, his eyes, the way he moved his hands when he spoke. They said the energy was wrong, that the manic spark, that uncontrollable electric Jim Carrey energy, was simply gone. And that's when the clone theory took over. Some theorists went even further, pointing to Carrey's own artistic choices in recent years as evidence. His shift to abstract painting, his reclusive lifestyle, his cryptic public statements. They argued that the real Jim Carrey had either died or been removed from public life, and that what we saw in Paris was a carefully prepared replacement sent out to collect an award and keep the legend of Jim Carrey alive. Is it true? Almost certainly not.
But here's the deeper question, and this is what makes this conspiracy so fascinating. Why are we so unwilling to accept that people simply age? Why does a 64-year-old man looking different at 64 than he did at 34 feel like evidence of something sinister? We'll get to the psychology of all this later, because it's more revealing than the conspiracy itself. Chapter 3. Avril Lavigne, the original clone. If Jim Carrey is the newest name in the clone theory conversation, then Avril Lavigne is the original, the godmother of celebrity replacement conspiracies. And this one has been running for over 15 years. Here's how the story goes. In the early 2000s, Avril Lavigne was the biggest pop star on the planet. Skater boy, complicated, girlfriend. She was rebellious, raw, and completely authentic. The anti-pop star. Then, around 2002 and 2003, she began to change. Her sound evolved, her look evolved, and for some fans, something felt fundamentally different. The theory, first circulated seriously by a Brazilian fan page called Avril Está Morta, which translates to Avril is Dead, claimed that she died sometime around 2003. The cause of death varies depending on who's telling the story. Some say it was suicide, others say an accident. Some claim she was overwhelmed by the pressure of fame and simply couldn't cope. And rather than announce her death, rather than lose their billion-dollar artist, her management team and record label allegedly hired a replacement, a lookalike named Melissa Vandella, who had supposedly been used as a decoy to deal with the press even before Avril's death. The evidence people point to? Changes in facial structure, differences in her singing voice between early and later recordings, a mole that appears on her face in some photos and disappears in others, and handwriting that supposedly changed between album eras. Now, Avril Lavigne is very much alive. She has spoken publicly many times. She has toured the world, released multiple albums, and appeared on podcasts where she discusses the conspiracy directly. In a now famous interview on the Call Her Daddy podcast, she laughed about it. She said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "It's funny because on one hand, people say I haven't aged a day, but on the other hand, they say I'm not even me anymore." She called it so dumb, because obviously, she is her. But here's what's interesting. The theory refuses to die. Every time new Avril content drops, the comment sections are split. Half the people are normal fans. The other half are dissecting her face like forensic scientists. They zoom into old interviews frame by frame. They run audio analysis on her vocals. They create elaborate timelines with arrows and circles and highlighted features. And the theory keeps spreading, because the internet has a very specific relationship with Avril Lavigne. She represents a moment in time, a specific era, a feeling. And when that feeling shifted, when she grew up and evolved as an artist, some part of the audience couldn't accept it. So they created a story that made the change make sense. Avril died, and someone else took her place. Chapter 4. Selena Gomez, the most personal theory. Now we come to the one that hits different, the Selena Gomez clone theory. Because unlike the others, this one is built on top of something very real, very painful, and very personal. In 2017, Selena Gomez publicly revealed that she had undergone a kidney transplant. Her best friend at the time, Francia Raisa, was the donor. Selena had been battling lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease, for years, and her kidneys had reached the point of failure. This was a documented, verified, widely reported medical event. Selena talked about it openly. She showed her surgery scar. She thanked Francia in emotional interviews. It was one of the most vulnerable moments a pop star had ever shared with the world. And conspiracy theorists took that moment and twisted it into something dark. The theory goes like this. Selena Gomez did not survive the kidney transplant. She died on the operating table. And because her brand, her business empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars, her rare beauty cosmetics line, her Disney legacy, her music catalog, was simply too valuable to lose, she was replaced. The evidence people cite? Selena's appearance changed significantly in the years following the transplant. Her weight fluctuated, which is a known side effect of the immunosuppressant drugs kidney transplant recipients take. Her face looked different. Her personality in interviews felt different. She seemed calmer, more measured, less like the bubbly Disney girl people had grown up watching. To theorists, all of this was proof. But here's the reality. Selena Gomez went through a life-threatening medical crisis. She received a new organ. She went on heavy medication that affects the body in significant ways. She nearly died. And she came out the other side a changed person. Because that is what surviving something like that does to you. The irony of this particular conspiracy theory is breathtaking. Selena was brave enough to be completely transparent about one of the hardest experiences of her life. She shared it so that other people with chronic illness wouldn't feel alone. And instead of compassion, a portion of the internet responded by turning her survival into a conspiracy. That says a lot. Not about Selena, but about us. Chapter 5. The Others. Britney, Beyoncé, and Beyond. Jim Carrey, Avril Lavigne, and Selena Gomez are the biggest names right now, but they are far from alone. Britney Spears has been wrapped in replacement theories for years. During the height of her public breakdown in 2007, the head shaving, the paparazzi incidents, the conservatorship, theorists claimed the real Britney had been hidden away. That what we were seeing was a programmed, controlled version, a shell. And when she began to recover and reclaim her life, some said even that version wasn't the real her. Beyoncé. Perhaps the most powerful figure in modern entertainment, Beyoncé has long been at the center of Illuminati conspiracy theories. Secret societies, elite control, hidden symbols in her music videos. The clone theory with Beyoncé is a bit different. Some believe she isn't replaced, but is rather a fully controlled product of a shadowy entertainment cabal that manufactures stars like assembly line products. And then there's the broader theory, the one that ties all of these individual stories together. What if it's not about individual stars at all? What if the entertainment industry itself has a system? A network of handlers, producers, and corporate interests that view celebrities not as people, but as intellectual properties. Brands to be managed, protected, and if necessary, replaced. It sounds extreme, but look at how the industry actually operates. Studios have controlled actors' images since the golden age of Hollywood. They've silenced stories. They've manufactured romances. They've hidden illnesses, covered up scandals, and shaped public perception with military precision for over a century. The question isn't whether Hollywood is capable of manipulation. It clearly is. The question is just, how far does it go? Chapter 6. The Psychology. Why we believe. Here's the part of this video that nobody talks about, because it's the most important part. Why do we believe this? Not just clone theories, but all celebrity conspiracy theories. Why does a significant portion of the human population look at a 64-year-old man accepting an award and think, that's a clone, rather than simply, he's gotten older? The answer lies in parasocial relationships. A parasocial relationship is a one-sided emotional bond. You feel like you know someone, deeply, intimately, but they have no idea you exist. This is what most of us have with celebrities. We've watched them grow up. We've followed their careers. We've cried to their music in our bedrooms. We felt like they were part of our lives. And when someone you feel that close to changes, it's destabilizing. The brain needs an explanation, and they changed because time passed and life happened is a deeply unsatisfying answer. It's too mundane, too painful. It means our favorite version of them is just gone, replaced by someone we don't recognize, someone we don't have the same connection with. But if there's a conspiracy, if someone literally replaced them, then the original is still out there, somewhere. Our Selena, our Avril, our Jim, preserved perfectly in the moment we loved them most. The clone theory isn't really about clones. It's about grief. It's about loss. It's about the very human inability to accept that the things we love are always, slowly, inevitably changing. There's also a deeper cultural layer here. We live in an era of distrust. Trust in media, institutions, governments, and corporations is at historic lows. And when trust collapses, conspiracy fills the void. When people feel like they're being lied to about the big things, why wouldn't they assume they're being lied to about the celebrities they follow? And then there's social media. Platforms that are algorithmically designed to amplify emotional reactions. A clone conspiracy video gets more clicks than a normal celebrity update. Fear gets shared more than facts. Shock outlasts nuance every single time. Chapter 7. The Question We're All Afraid to Ask, 1830 to 1930. So here's where I leave you tonight. Most of these theories are almost certainly false. The people you see on screen are the people they say they are. They've aged, they've healed, they've grown, they've changed. And yet, there's a reason these theories stick, a reason they go viral, a reason that even the most skeptical person watching a side-by-side comparison video at 2 a.m. feels a small, uncomfortable flicker of, what if? Maybe the conspiracy isn't that your favorite stars are being cloned. Maybe the real conspiracy is the industry itself. The machine that controls what you see, decides who gets a platform, shapes what you believe about the people you admire, and has been doing it since long before you were born. Maybe the question isn't whether Selena Gomez was replaced. Maybe the question is, why does the system need you to feel like you know her in the first place? That's all for tonight on Late Night Heat. If this video made you think, made you question, or made you look twice at someone on your screen, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think has changed the most dramatically? And do you think the explanation is natural or something else? I'll be reading every comment, and who knows, your theory might just be the subject of our next deep dive. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, look closely.